Earlier today, Ofgem released a request for information regarding the standing charges on our home energy bills. Here's a quick overview. Hi everyone, I'm Richard Winston with Over 50s Money. As always, if you like these videos and you want to get more energy videos, please subscribe to the Over 50s Money YouTube channel, turn on the notifications and share this page with your friends and family. Thank you. So earlier today, Ofgem released a request for information regarding standing charges on our home energy bills. And effectively, they've done this because there's been a lot of pressure on them from basically everybody in the country regarding the huge increase in standing charges on our energy bills over the last couple of years. So if you go back to 2021, standing charges for electricity were around £86 per year, I think the document says, and they're now £186 per year. So this is a problem for everybody, but it's more of a problem for those on lower energy usage and lower incomes, obviously. So the reason these increases have happened, the reason it's gone up so dramatically, is because there are a bunch of charges that used to be put onto your unit rates. And so the more energy you used, the more you contributed to those costs. And the less energy you used, the less you contributed. And Ofgem decided in 2019 that they were going to move those. So these are network costs. They're going to move them from unit rates to standing charges. So it's split equally across the country. And what that means is those with higher usage will have seen a lot more benefit from that move because unit rates would have come down. If they're paying per unit for the network cost, they would have been paying a higher proportion of the network costs. But those with low usage have found it way worse because obviously when we hit the crisis, they weren't able to, cutting their usage had minimal impact, and they probably, low usage households don't have a lot of leeway to cut usage further. So their bills would have gone up more proportionately than those on high usage, which has obviously been unfair. Most of the people most low usage households are low income households, they're vulnerable. And so obviously a lot of consumer groups and charities have been talking to Ofgem saying, well, this is very unfair because we're in an energy crisis and we can't help those that are worse off because you're increasing their standing charges. Now that 186 was just electricity. Gas standing charges have gone up as well, but not at the same rates. They've only gone up a small percentage. I think they're up to about 30p at the moment per day, and they were 26p per day a couple of years ago. So the decision to move network costs from unit rates to standing charges was actually taken in 2019 and not implemented until 2022 and 2023, so 3 and 4 years later. Now, I wasn't really that involved with energy back then. I kept track of my own energy bill, but that was about it. So I don't know the reasons as to why it took 3 or 4 years for it to be delayed. I think it's probably safe to say that it has something to do with COVID. And therefore it took a few more years to do it. I don't know why they then decided that the middle of an energy crisis was the right time to make that move. I suppose I could see the pros and cons. They would have helped out high usage households a lot more because proportionately they're paying a lot higher. You reduce a small part of their unit rates and they get a big discount on their energy bills, or a reasonable discount on their energy bills. But then obviously the downside is they're penalising low usage households in the UK by increasing their standing rates. So yeah, standing charges, daily standing charges. So yeah, it's. I don't think it was a great move. There's been a lot of complaints about it, and now Ofgem are doing a review to see if there's a better way to handle standing charges and fixed costs. I've only made it through about 20 pages of this document so far. It's a 59-page document, and obviously it was just released this morning, so it's not bad going for the first day. But I've stopped where I got to a question for Ofgem. Effectively, so far, they're doing the background as to why the changes have been made in the last few years, what the landscape used to look like and what it's like today, and the reasons why they're making these changes. There are a couple of bits in there that I just thought were pure nonsense, if I'm being honest. It feels very much like Ofgem are passing blame to consumers and to energy suppliers. So there's bits in there about how energy suppliers have the right to set their own fixed rate tariffs or whatever they want. Ofgem don't have control over that, but energy suppliers for some reason just aren't doing it, which is naive from Ofgem. They know why they're not doing it. So they pass some of the blame on to suppliers there, and then they've also passed blame on to consumers. I'll show you this on the document actually. So here on the screen right now, you should be able to see a sentence. It says, the main reason for the change was that changing the volumetric the main reason for this change was that charging on a volumetric basis made it too easy for some users to avoid network costs. Now, this confused me a little bit, not going to lie to you, because I don't understand how you avoid network costs when it's on your unit rates or your unit rates. So I highlighted it because it was a very confusing sentence. I don't know how you avoid paying your unit rates unless you just switch off your energy, unless you stop using energy. So to me, this sentence said that people were avoiding network costs by reducing their usage. And it seems like a very aggressive way of saying people were reducing their usage to make their bills more manageable. But what they've said is they were avoiding network costs. So I find this part particularly interesting because they've got these two big paragraphs here about how energy customers, how consumers were avoiding paying network costs when it was put on unit rates. And they're talking about a residual element for peak times, which is something I'd never heard of. And at this point, I'm shocked if I hear something in the domestic energy market I haven't heard of. But they're saying that there are extra costs placed on your energy bills at peak times. And the reason I'd never heard of it is because this happened back in 2017 and 2016. So they're talking about how they've got two big paragraphs on how people were avoiding these costs 6-7 years ago, right? And then if you scroll down just slightly, there's a tiny paragraph here where they say they stopped doing that in 2018. Okay, so what is the point in any of this? And then there's one sentence, but still provided some users with an opportunity to avoid network charges while having the option to use the network when desired. That's one sentence that says, but people were still avoiding network charges after 2018, so we moved them from unit rates to standing charges. There's actually no explanation here at all as to how customers can avoid paying their unit rates. So I genuinely believe what they're saying is users were reducing their usage, customers were reducing their energy usage, which means they were getting less money for network costs each month, each year, and so they moved them over to standing charges to increase your bills because they wanted more money out of everybody. That's literally how I interpret that sentence. Now, the reason I stopped reviewing around page 20 is this bit that you're seeing on the screen now. Come back to face you. I stopped here because this was a complete contradiction to everything I know about the price cap. And I just didn't want to read any further until I have clarity. So I've emailed Ofgem and I've emailed all of the consumer groups and charities that I work with in the Ofgem monthly meetings, that attend those meetings. And I've just asked a question. Very simple. What is the Ofgem price cap? So this paragraph here says it's not a cap on your daily standing charges or on your unit rates. However, for the last year and a half, I've been telling you it is a cap on your daily standing charges and your unit rates. And that's because that's what it says everywhere. So when I sent this email to Ofgem, I also took a screenshot of their website where it says it's a maximum price energy suppliers can pay for can charge you for your unit rates. I also took a screenshot of Martin Lewis's Money Saving Expert where it says it's a cap on your daily standing charges and your unit rates. And I just put to Ofgem that this sentence, this paragraph, is in complete contradiction to all of the other texts on the internet about what the price cap is, and that I don't think we should be talking to consumers about what the price cap is if we don't know. That they need to give us a clear explanation of what the price cap is a cap on, so we can tell you clearly. Because me, Martin Lewis, all of these consumer groups and charities have all told you it's a cap on your standing charges and your unit rates because that's what we've always been told. If Ofgem are now saying it's not that, and that energy suppliers can mix and match their unit rates and standing charges how they want, then that's information that needs to be portrayed to the public. We need to know how to verify that they're still sticking to whatever the cap actually is. And it's not going to be useful for me to continue reviewing this document, talking about standing charges, until I know what they are, what the cap is. So that's why I've decided to stop here. We have until, I think it's the 19th of January to reply to this. There's a bit of an extension on this particular request for information because the holiday period is coming up. So people take a lot of time off over Christmas and New Year's. So we've got plenty of time to get there, and hopefully that also gives Ofgem plenty of time to reply to my email and explain to me clearly what the price cap is, because I can't believe that a year and a half into doing this, and 6 years in the energy industry now, and I've just found out that apparently it's not a cap on your unit rates and your daily standing charges. Feels to me that there's a mistake there in their document and they need to republish it. But so far, every mistake I've called Ofgem out on, they've actually had a reasonable explanation for. So perhaps it's, again, something I'm misunderstanding. And if anyone does know how this ties in with the other definitions of the price cap, please do let me know. Email me at richard@ofiftiesmoney.com. I'm happy to learn. I just want clarity in my mind as to what the price cap is. And then I'll continue reading the document and give you guys a further review as to what they're planning to do. I think an overall, from the summary that I've got of this document at the start, they are just looking for everyone to give information, to give suggestions on what to do before they put forward some consultations on what they plan to do. So they're looking for ideas on how to improve the standing charges issue without penalising too many people. So, for example, one of the things they said is like if they moved it back to unit rate, if they moved network costs back to unit rates, that would benefit 5 million low income households. But it would penalise around 1 million low income households. But those 1 million that get penalised, a chunk of them, I don't know if they said it was a small or large majority, but some of them are vulnerable customers that that have high usage for medical equipment in their homes. So if you move network costs from standing charges to unit rates, you're going to penalise those people because their overall bills will be going up and they're vulnerable customers. What they don't mention is how many, like the proportion of that 1 million, the exact proportion of that 1 million that are vulnerable, and the proportion of the 5 million that would benefit, that are low income households, that would benefit from the cheaper standing charges. How many of those are vulnerable people? Like, unfortunately, there is no one size fits all for everybody. Some vulnerable people are going to be better off with a change and some are going to be worse. And then there's the rest of the country, which is, 90% of us, like the rest of us. They've got to focus on vulnerable people first, which I understand. And so, we're going to take the impact, whatever it is. But without information as to how many vulnerable people are being affected in each group, depending on which way it's going, it's kind of hard for us to judge what the best option is. Anyway, that's everything I've got on this document at the moment. As I said, once I've got a response from Ofgem, I'll post another video after I finish reading it, the whole document, and I'll let you know what Ofgem's reply was. I'll let you know about the rest of the document, the specific questions, and I'll obviously have a link to my answers so you can see and share them with Ofgem if you agree with them. So thanks everyone for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Over 50s Money YouTube channel, and I'll see you shortly. Thank you.